I guess we'll go through the slides real quick to see all the changes. But Sorks actually look pretty good, right? What did you guys think? Sorks is getting like a lot of extra damage reduction. I think it's going to fix some issues, but it's not going to fix all the issues. All I know is lightning-based Sorceress looks dope as hell. Lightning Sork actually looks pretty sick. Same thing with fire, right? Same thing with fire with like the fireball bounce and the changes. So here's all the changes and stuff like there.
About some of the
Veers, so like some of the passives are getting boosted. Damage boost from Veers passives. Combustion, your burning effects deal 20 times increased damage plus 2% increased damage per unique source of burn. Both bonuses are also grant 3 seconds when hitting a boss for Paragon board. This is over there. You're just getting a lot of extra damage reduction. Warding rare damage reduction increased from 13 to 25%. That's a lot of damage reduction. I don't know how often Sorks use warding in their board though. Is this something that you like use in every single Sork build, or is it something you will use now? Territorial getting a buff, Reinforced getting buffed, Seedless Conduit increased crackling energy damage from 2 to 3% per 20 intellect, casting Fireball meter increase your critical strike chance. Keeper of Flame damage reduction increased also there. Over here, more Paragon board changes, right? Smoldering Embers damage reduction, Guarded Rare, more damage reduction from vulnerable targets, damage reduction from vulnerable enemies, Lightning Resilience, more max life, more max life. You like the legendary changes? They're doing a lot of legendary changes, right? This is what we talked about, removing like the downsides from different aspects and stuff, and just adding only positive sides. So 1 additional Hydra, and they're actually increasing the duration now instead of reducing it. Burning damage bonuses, increase the critical damage of meteor and fireball at 2040, double his bonus against healthy targets, boosting movement speed, chain ball lightning orbits around you deal 15 and 25% more damage. So yeah, I don't know, I kind of want to play Lightning Sork after this patch comes out, but this patch is actually far away. It's on the 8th. This is the we got a little bit of time before the patch comes out. Dumb fuck devs, how about fix for this? They said they want to, but they haven't yet. And honestly, I think they need to be really careful about fixing the resist, because I personally don't want every single item to need 2 sources of resist on it. I don't know about you guys, but that is basically what every ARPG essentially has done over time. I would rather have resist be good but not be mandatory, because having resist on every single item or 2 sockets resist on every item, it's just gonna be boring, right? So yeah, I think they need to make resist better, but I also don't want to have resist on my 2 resists on my chest, 2 resists on my pants, 2 resists on my ring, 2 resists on my ring, right? So I think they need to be very careful and decisive when they redo resist, and not just make it mandatory for resist on every slot, because then that's uninspiring. That's not going to be fun. Like, I want like more viable build options. I want like more affixes that I can incorporate in my build, not just have 2 slots always occupied by resist. It's literally required in PoE just have it on about everything. Well, yeah, PoE, that's why people recommend it, right? Because they want it to be like PoE, right? Like they want resists on everything, and then they also have damage. But the thing is, PoE is a lot more complex. You just don't always stack resistances. There's ways to like take resists or damage types and transfer them to other resistance types, and there's other forms of mitigation instead of always doing it that way. Or you just stack max resist and you increase your max resist on your character than PoE. But there's always like, there's like damage conversion type things that you do in PoE that are different. There's different uniques that you could use. There's like affixes on influence stuff. They got the new implicit stuff that increase your resist. And you got your auras and whatnot. So yeah, I think they need to be careful with the whole resist thing. I personally don't want to only be stacking resists. I think the changes to legendary aspects though so far are good though, right? Are you guys happy with some of the legendary aspects? Obviously there needs to be more. There needs to be more changes. They have a lot more to address, but I think this is a good realization period that they're working on itemization, that they're removing a lot of the negative effects, just putting positive effects, broadening about the stuff also. Rax is super mad about bosses dropping guaranteed legendaries. Wait, why? Why is Rax mad about bosses dropping legendaries? Legendaries aren't even meaningful in this game. Yeah, like literally they're not even meaningful. He wants better loot, not more loot. Well, I think this is a good temporary solution until they fix itemization and loot. So yeah, so until they actually redo the system, I think having the more loot, especially for more casual players, is good If you're playing hardcore, you play a lot, this change doesn't affect you at all, right? They're not increasing like unique drop rates. They're not doing anything with the ultra unique drop rates and stuff like that. Why would you be mad about the legendary drop for casual players? Dude, that's literally it is. It's the casual player buff. If you play a lot, it literally doesn't affect you at all. The only thing that's going to affect is right at level 35, some dad gamer is going to get home. He just got done washing the dishes, putting his kids to sleep, and he's doing some level 40 boss, and he gets a legendary. He goes, oh shit, this is fucking sick. And then he picks it up, he looks at the itemization, he goes, oh, this is really bad. And he looks at the aspect, he goes, fuck, I don't even use this. And then that's basically it, right? That's the core issue, right? They need to improve like the itemization of legendaries, and like they need to make loot more meaningful and more exciting. But literally the legendary change literally does not affect a lot of people at all. Yeah, I actually don't have an issue at all with them temporarily buffing the loot drop sources to make it more exciting for casual players, and then eventually they go through and they fix the stuff in a more meaningful way, right? Because this is like a band-aid fix. You ever watch commercials like where there's a leak in the tank and they grab the thing and they slap it on there? That's basically what this is. This little band-aid fix. Who's that guy that does that commercial, the infomercial, like where there's like leaking boats, the flex tape? Yeah, basically what it is. That's what this change is, this little flex tape fix. He just slaps the flex tape on there and that's it. Billy Mays. Yeah, a little flex tape fix. Not a good long-term solution, but I think it's a good temporary solution to help out the more casual Andes. I actually can't believe Rax is mad about that at all. Because like literally the change is not like anything crazy at all. Like look, the only thing they're doing here, the dungeon at 35 plus get a guaranteed legendary, Legion events get a guaranteed legendary, Butcher already drops a guaranteed legendary, and Treasure Goblins, instead of a 50% legendary drop rate starting at level 15, they basically get a good legendary also. Yeah, it doesn't really change much for me at all. But like think of how many legendaries you get when you're doing like nightmare dungeons or like when you're doing Helltide and stuff. The aspect of Frozen Orbit though, look at that buff over here. And also Veer's pass, whether the Veer's passive, Veer's mastery key damage reduction increased by 20 to 30% for each close enemy. So you get even more damage reduction while running this new legendary. This is pretty big, right? That's pretty big damage reduction. For respec, no one takes Veer's passive. Well, maybe now people will take it. I don't know if people will or not, but maybe it'll be more lucrative now. Guys, how long do they spend on the side? Okay. And then also like the unique item. Well, people use this unique for fireball spec. They're basically reducing the damage penalty, damage to stun affix, replaced with lucky hit, short, change to restore resources. It looks better, I guess. And then Barb, actually Barb is getting a lot of resource gain stuff. A 20-30% boost to resource gain. It might not seem like a lot, but it'll be a decent amount. And honestly, using generators all the time in between your spenders is not the most fun thing. So I think I think it would be good, right? Like the more you're just attacking and not using generators. Violent upheaval changed, the damage reduction bonus by aggressive resist, gushing runes, bleed damage when overpower increased from 11 to 70. Bleed damage based on critical hit damage bonus increased also. Unconstrained berserker damage bonus increase. Updated the tooltip to more clearly reflect this keystone passive. Walk in arsenal bonus damage buff. Okay, that's cool stuff, I guess. What is this? Legendary. Wow. Ledge and Daries. Legend, they spell legendaries wrong. Yeah, they just boosted some multipliers. Thorns damage boosted. Aura skills cost refund increased. Cost refund also granted when hitting bosses or single target functionality. Aspect of ancestral charge damage bonus. Burning rage stuff. You use that for that Thorns build. I was playing the Thorns build. Aspect of Bolcathos, damage reduction while Earthquake boosted. And then Earthquake aspect, damage bonus and Earthquake increased also. Are these out now? No, the patch notes happen on August 2nd and everything else happens on August 8th. So patch actually August 8th. It's still a while away. Not anytime soon. And then they're also revamping some unique. So yeah, 100,000 steps actually get movement speed by default instead of stun affix. Basic skill damage affix replaced with cooldown. So yeah, they're putting better item affix itemization on unique items across the board, and they're buffing some stuff too. No way, movement speed. Well, that's like a core issue with the game. You look at a lot of unique items, right? Like for example, Insatiable Fury for Druid. It had like overpower damage, right? And they know the formula for overpower is what? Health fortify. Why not have health on Insatiable Fury instead of overpower? Because overpower currently is very, very undertuned. So it just makes more sense, right, to have health instead of overpower damage on Insatiable Fury. And it also scales your overpower also because it gives you health, right, and it gives you fortify, and it meshes well with the fantasy that overpowered characters are really, really tanky. But then you could also like do something, right, like Insatiable, right, like, you know, oh, Insatiable Fury. You could have like the range of the health on that item from like 1 to like 2,000 or something, where there's a lot more variance in the rolls, but you get a top end roll, and that's exciting. And right, like, yeah, Gor's had the attack speed, and Whirlwind doesn't really benefit from attack speed also. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, they could do a lot more changes to unique itemization in the future, and change it, like, you know, change up affixes too. We hate on D4. No. I actually think this Fireside Chat was really good. Like, they're actually making some good changes. They're not making all the changes that the community wanted, but they are making some good changes, I think. Like, this patch should not make the game worse. This patch is going to be making the game better. Okay, and then also they surprised with some rogue buffs also. Invigorating Strike, Energy Threshold increase, Forceful Arrow, every third cast now pierces all enemies, Caltrops, damage bonus increase, Poison Trap, damage increase, Supreme Rain Arrows, Rain Arrows first wave knocks down enemies for 3 seconds. So some little rogue changes there. They also buffed some rogue passives. Victimized Lucky Hit boosted. Damage reduction against damage over time effects boosted also. And Siphoning Strike Lucky Hit chance boosted. And they did some legendary things also. Aspect of Elusive no longer requires to be close. And changes you automatically drop a smoke grenade at the end of dash 2 for legendary. So like some little rogue changes over here. And also they're improving itemization on like Wind Force, where all affix is now vulnerability damage. And Word of Hakan is now ultimate damage affix with cooldown reduction. So that is improving itemization. Druids here, same thing early on. Druids early on, still a terrible experience, right? You have like major resource problems pretty much every Druid build. You like spec into shape shifting, plus your like plus your spirit generation passive while leveling. So basically all Druid generators across the board are getting a pretty nice buff. Maul, wolves, they're buffing up like the pet archetype. They're buffing like wolf passive, active damage bonuses. They're buffing up all the different nodes and stuff like that. No, this is not the full patch notes. They said they're going to be full comprehensive patch notes. This is some of the stuff they wanted to highlight on. Same thing with Ravens, and also Ravens like will passively just do more damage too. They're buffing Rabies, which is kind of like underperforming right now, but they're going to boost in Rabies 2 to do more dot damage. Yeah, so they're buffing. What else are they doing? Legendary aspects also. Damage to the alpha, resource gain, overload. Overload, maybe people might actually use overload. You don't really use overload that often on Druid ever, because there's a lot of lucky hit based stuff. And I think even like a lot of the lucky hit wheels on Druid need a revamp. You know, we have, I'll pull it up real quick. E4 builds. So we have my builds. All right, so you have like this, right? You have like this skill tree right here. Like these wheels, like where storm skills, vulnerability, increased duration. But then you have like bad omen, electric shock, even like charge atmosphere. These things don't scale well late game, and just no one uses them. Same thing with like overload, right? It's lucky a chance and a 20% chance to do discharge. Well, yeah, there's like, well, lucky hit is like your proc coefficient. That's how they try to like balance stuff. But there are a lot of things that are too lucky hit dependent, and then also like their damage doesn't really scale too well into late game, so it doesn't feel meaningful, and then it's just wasted nodes. You just don't select them, right? It'll be like base damage. It doesn't scale with your build, your character, your attributes. You're like, this feels terrible. Okay, what else we got over here? Necromancer stuff. Enhanced Bone Sphere cooldown increase from 6 to 7. Paragon board, a Withering Legendary willpower requirement for bonus reduce. Bonus damage for willpower increased. Some legendary stuff. So this is where Adam Jackson actually mentioned he had a design oversight. Damaging enemy to sever had a 10 to 20% chance to spawn a pool of blight onto the target that deals 20 bonus damage. This effect can only apply. Apparently, what scaled with crit damage before, and it didn't actually work. An aspect of exposed flesh, chance on lucky hit up to a 10% chance to generate 30 to 50 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy. Aspect of decay damage increased. Aspect of torment essence for generation increased from 20 to 30 to 90 to 170. Are basically every single necromancer is going to use this aspect now? That's a pretty big resource increase. I don't think so. It is for bone. Okay, it is for bone, guys. Vulcan aspect stuff, Greaves of Empty Tome, Intelligence replaced with movement speed. Oh, this is a pretty big change though. Minion survivability stuff for companion builds. Elite affixes, fire enchanted, electrified obelisk, shock lance, fire breath, being less effective on them. Caged hearts. This is like the one. I am really the one thing that came from this that I'm still really disappointed about. They're really not doing anything for the seasonal mechanic. The seasonal mechanic is basically going to stay undercooked and like undertuned. Or it looks like the entire duration. I don't think they're actually like buffing density. They're not like doing any changes to the new boss. They're not doing any changes to the spawn time of elites. They're not nerfing any. They're not nerfing any stuff, but they're not really doing anything with the seasonal aspect at all. At the first season, you forgive. Yeah, hopefully they learn a lot from the first season, because this first season, the tuning of the next season has to be a lot better. It has to be a lot better. It's like a sacrifice, right? There are so many bugs in this season. Yeah, just like feedback wise, like I can't believe how many actual bugs made it into the season. It actually made it seem really rushed. Like just the quality, like even if it's a small season, right? Even if it's a small season, it doesn't have too many things that they incorporate into it. It should be Q&A'd and like tested well, and there shouldn't be a lot of bugs. There were so many bugs with almost everything when this season launched, which is crazy. I have the opposite mindset. They had infinite time to work on the season before launch, and this is what they came up with. Now they're on the clock. No, I think opposite. I think what happened with this season, since they made this season in parallel with the game launch, I think what happened was, during like the first, you remember they did those beta weekends, they got a lot of feedback, they got a lot of changes there. I think what happened was maybe they took like more people from the seasonal team to work on the base game and do improvements, and then season 1 ended up being undercooked, and that's how so many like bugs got into it. That's how like so many of the things like feel lackluster, like the new bosses and stuff, like the actual malignant tunnels. Like you're not incentivized to go in them and farm them at all. But they said they had 2 teams working on seasons and the main team. Yeah, but they could still pull resources. I don't know. But from what they originally said their plan was for seasons, them talking about seasons before the game launched this season is not represent what they were saying at all, right? Like how they want the seasons to be big and meaty, and they want like the seasonal stuff to be impactful. Yeah, so yeah, they really need to do a better job for season 2 seasonal. They want people interacting with it, right? It's supposed to be a different way to play the game, and they definitely missed that mark. And they definitely missed the mark on a lot of the seasonal stuff. It's almost like essentially almost playing Eternal Realm. You run into like a malignant monster every once in a while in a nightmare dungeon. You do have your Malignant Hearts, right? Obviously there's some strong ones, some overly strong ones. You have like damage reduction ones, pretty much every build uses that. You have like Barb, which is super overpowered. Everyone uses that. And then you got like one toss-up Malignant Heart that you have to decide on using. But pretty much most builds use 2 Malignant Hearts no matter what. Top build don't use Barber. That's why I said most builds, not all builds. Why not 3? No, you always use Malignant Hearts, because Malignant Hearts level 5 ones have over 300 armor, so they get more armor than a skull anyways. Right, so no matter what, like the Malignant Hearts give you more armor than anything else, so you're always going to use them. Damage reduction stuff. All stats. Oh, this is the biggest change though. Temerity. All stats affix replaced with maximum life. Barrier is now maximum life. Before, how it was worded, it actually said maximum life, but it was actually base life. So it didn't scale all your health multipliers. So imagine now you have 18,000 life build. You can now have a barrier that's constantly replaced with 18,000 barrier. And now different conditions, like when you have damage bonuses while barrier, like 25% more damage while barrier is active, that will now scale too. So yeah, they're like mega buffing Temerity to now actually have max life, better itemization, and it's actually going to scale off max life too. So now you might actually not want pants that have damage reduction. You didn't know that. So yeah, Temerity's before, the wording on it said max life. It was not max life before. It was base life, not max life, even though it said max life. But if you put it on and tested it, it was base life. Yeah, so Temerity is actually just going to be like wicked strong. So essentially it doubles your life. Yeah. It essentially doubles your life, and then it refreshes too. And then I think that's basically it for the slideshow. Yeah, that's pretty much over. That's the summary. You'll probably have the patch notes in the summary. So just say a bunch of class buffs, tuning stuff, itemization changes, Paragon board changes, a lot of adjustments there. But yeah, overall, I think this Diablo 4 developer Campfire chat was good. They're going in the right direction. They're chipping away at the changes that the community wants, but they still have a lot of work to do because there's tons of things that were not addressed. So I would say this was a W, Campfire chat. Yeah, people want to see things adjusted more quickly, right, in a more timely manner. But they're actually making some good changes, right? And they're addressing stuff. Well, yeah, maybe a lowercase W, not an uppercase W. Yeah, like a A minus, yeah, like a W minus patch. Yeah. So it's not everything we want, but yeah, W minus, lowercase W patch. Yeah, good start.